In the middle of the 19th century, Wilkie Collins wrote two mystery stories that are classics. One was The Moonstone, the other was The Woman in White. People still argue about which is better, but Collins had no doubt. He ordered that his tombstone should say, "Author of The Woman in White," and it does. Legend has it that he got the idea one night during a stroll with some friends. Passing a London garden, they heard a scream from inside, then saw a beautiful young woman dressed in white dash out of the gate. She looked at them in terror, then disappeared back into the shadows. Collins was a good friend of Charles Dickens, who asked him to write a novel quickly for a new magazine he was starting. Dickens was going to write one too, and did. His was A Tale of Two Cities. Collins's was The Woman in White. Writer's block must not have existed in those days. Both books were published as long magazine serials. The Woman in White runs over 500 pages in book form. We're presenting it tonight in a single 2-hour dramatization. At the start, it will help you to know that Marion and Laura, the two sisters you're about to meet, are only half-sisters. Marion has been left penniless. Laura will inherit a fortune, but she can't claim it before coming of age. Meanwhile, Laura and Marion are living under the care of a hypochondriac old uncle at an estate called Limmeridge in the north of England. Now, The Woman in White.
Bad dreams always come back again like unwanted friends. And last night, I found myself in Limmeridge churchyard. Normally, people who are dead stay dead, just as normally it is the criminals who are locked up rather than the victims. But then, there was nothing normal about what happened to us, except perhaps the beginning. That summer's day on Limmeridge lawn, where we witnessed the fate of poor Laura's croquet ball. And that night, the arrival of a tutor to teach us drawing.
You don't suspect me of wrong, do you, sir? Why do you suspect me of wrong?
I suspect you of no wrong.
I hid to watch you pass. Do you stay here?
Yes, I have been offered a post.
Oh, how happy you must be.
Where do you stay?
Not here, but there and everywhere, towns. I do what I'm told, sir. Do you want to tell me, sir, what to do?
Why? Who are you?
I'm not meant to be here. They do not want me here. Do you know a baronet, sir?
No.
Perhaps I can trust you.
Mr. Hartright?
You saw a woman from the village, probably. I can assure you, as family lawyer, that it's not our normal practice to make our guests walk. But it seems the engine on the branch line broke down near Carlisle.
Your charges, Marion and Laura, have naturally retired. And your employer, Mr. Fairlie, is a man of idiosyncratic nature. He keeps to his own apartments. To be frank, I was a little concerned about his failure to arrange a proper chaperone.
I should not worry yourself, Mr. Gilmore. I am told my situation in life acts as a guarantee of its own. My last employer even compared my presence under his roof to that of a harmless domestic animal. Mr. Fairlie. I'm Mr. Hartright.
Mr. Hartright, sit down, slowly, without troubling yourself to move the chair or other objects. In the wretched state of my nerves, movement of any kind is exquisitely painful to me. So glad to possess you at Limmeridge. You have seen your studio. Will it do?
Will it do? I can assure
No,
you.
Mr. Hartright, a lower key, please. You see, loud sound is torture to me. You will pardon an invalid, I am sure, if the lamentable state of my health dictates a certain code. But at least you will find your position here as artist and teacher to my nieces properly recognized, Mr. Hartright. There is in this house none of the horrid barbarity of the local gentry who would treat artists as their servants. Now, would you put the tray of coins back in the cabinet? And then go and take down that portfolio. Are you strong enough? Yes? Oh, how nice to be so strong. Don't drop it! You have no idea of the tortures I should suffer, Mr. Hartright, if you dropped this portfolio. Now, before I continue, have you anything to ask me?
Just the question of my employment
Do
here.
you mind my closing my eyes while you speak? I find it much easier. Yes?
The tuition of the two young ladies?
Oh, that. I wish I felt strong enough to go into that, but I don't. My nieces who profit by your kind services, Mr. Hartright, must settle and agree on your wishes. Provided you deal with the more suitable subjects, the basic principles of landscape, frith, Bansia, and so forth.
Mr. Hartright. I am sorry if you caught me observing your arrival. My sister and I are so fond of Gothic novels that we sometimes act as if we were in them.
You would certainly seem to have the perfect setting for your pretense.
My uncle is not the easiest of men to encounter unbreakfasted, I am sorry.
No, he was perfectly courteous. Will your sister be joining us?
No. She thought it best that I make your acquaintance first. I will not disguise from you, Mr. Hartright, that we are a little unused to male company.
That is common enough in my pupils, Miss Fairlie. But can I hope even so that you and your sister will agree on a course of study?
Agree. I will tell you about Laura myself. You'll notice presently that we are not alike. Having different mothers, it is not surprising, but it goes further. She is quiet and I talk. She inherited great wealth through her mother while I am poor. She is sweet-tempered and I am crabbed. And she has a high opinion of men, while to speak plainly, Mr. Hartright, she is an angel and I... Well, perhaps you'd better pass the marmalade and finish the sentence for yourself.
Only by saying that you seem to require separate tutors.
Separate? No. Laura and I may have nothing in common, but we will not be separated, and we agree on everything. You must please both of us, Mr. Hartright, or please neither of us. It's unaccountable, but there it is. And I'm sure we can agree on whatever course of study you propose. Laura?
Miss Fairlie? Forgive me. Just for one moment, you reminded me of someone I met on the road last night. But I see now it is only a resemblance, nothing more.
But who was it, Mr. Hartright?
I do not know. She was dressed all in white.
A ghost, perhaps?
Yes. Well, let us make a start. It is my intention to begin with the most basic principles of still life and landscape. I'm sure you are acquainted with the work of Landseer.
But Marion, we do not yet know him.
What is there to know, Laura? Mr. Hartright's lessons are as cautious as his manner, and he is so uninterested in us. I sometimes think he is half asleep.
You are too harsh on men. But if only Father was here now, he could have helped us with so much. You know, Percival has not written. Perhaps he has changed his mind.
Laura, he wrote 2 days ago. It is less than a week since the lunch. Why in heaven should you worry?
You say that.
Why not?
Marion, I know. For weeks now, you've had some, I can't say, some concern about the future. Why deny it?
Laura, I have no worries, and nor should you. A change is coming, and I'm a coward about change. That is all. Mr. Hartright, you're still working. But this is my uncle's collection. What has he asked you to do?
Some repairs. He wants them completed by tomorrow.
Tomorrow? But there was months of work here. He had no right to ask you. Will you accept an apology, not merely on behalf of my uncle, but ourselves? The truth is, we thought you quite circumspect.
When a man has urgent need of a job, Miss Fairlie, I fear he generally is.
But what are those?
Oh, just some materials I was using for mounts.
Rossetti? Whistler?
Yes, these are copies I made.
This was Rossetti's wife, wasn't it?
Elizabeth. He did it after her death. Look at the line of the face. So much longing. Did you know he dug up her grave?
Yes. Where he had buried his poems. This picture always haunted me. Such a terrible feeling of loss.
It is the same one I saw. I will go down. And then there was no sign of her. It was right here. But it was not a ghost. It was a woman. Mr. Gilmore said she must be from the village.
But who? I would love to know. If we could just have seen her more clearly.
Well, there is one way. Do not move. Stand still. Yes, indeed, there is some resemblance, especially in the coloring. Miss Fairlie, if you will just let your arms hang.
Oh, I cannot.
No. Just so. If you relax, you are an excellent subject. Miss Fairlie, perhaps if I make some sketches of your sister, I might be able to show you how it was.
Assuming your model is happy?
Yes, Marion, I'd love to try.
So tell me, Mr. Hartright, how do your society subjects stay still?
Oh, I help them along with generous portions of compliments.
Well, I hope Mr. Hartright will pay me no compliments.
Why do you say that?
Because I know I will believe all you say to me. Too many bumps.
Indeed. And with all this jolting and interruption, we can confuse Mr. Hartright between nature as it is when he looks up
And nature as it is not when he looks at our work.
What will you do?
What I know is right. Before Mr. Hartright came, I was so sure of my feelings. Where would I be if I changed now?
Mr. Hartright, because we greatly value your friendship, I freely admit I do not like what I have to say. But I think I have discovered your secret. The truth is, if some attachment has been formed to Laura, then it is my duty to tell you now that it can go no further. My sister is engaged, willingly and happily to be married. Indeed, her fiancé is expected any day. I see we should have told you before. We're unused to these things, and we had no thought then of what would happen.
Miss Fairlie, it was in any case madness for a tutor to entertain such hopes, and I gratefully accept the offer of friendship. In my defense, I can only swear it is the first time a personal sympathy ever encroached in my teaching.
I cannot get the shape of the church. I would love to have a good likeness of this place. It is very dear to us.
Then I would like to draw it. Whose is the grave?
Our father's.
Oh, Marion, I must get ready. May I finish our lesson for today, Mr. Hartright? I can walk back.
Her fiancé?
Yes.
He lives nearby?
No, he comes from the south. Sir Percival's family were friends of my father, who approved the match before he died. As I do.
Of course.
However, we did speak of your secret, Mr. Hartright. And now I will tell you mine. Have you ever had the uncanny feeling when you go into a room, or meet a person, or see a picture that is perfect in every way, and yet you know something is wrong?
A kind of premonition, you mean?
Yes. It is no more rational than that. And it concerns Laura. Yet Sir Percival is good-looking, wealthy, and shows every sign of being in love. Believe me, I have put him to every test, and I cannot find fault with him.
But is it not natural you should feel some apprehension? You and your sister are very close, and your living relatives are distant.
Mr. Hartright, if I had any doubts you would put your own feelings aside to help me, you have just dispelled them. Your tea, Sir Percival.
Oh, you must forgive me, Miss Fairlie. I quite forgot myself. It is so many weeks since I last heard her play.
Not so many.
4 weeks, 2 days, and 6 hours. It was at a lunch party in this very room. Mr. Hartright, if I may say so, Limerick is indeed fortunate to find you as a tutor. I had the great good luck to see some of your drawings at Burlington House last summer. It is a wonder to me you do not exhibit more often.
You are very kind, but I fear it will be some months before I have suitable work to show.
Well, I hope after Laura and I are married, you will reward us by coming to stay at Blackwater on occasions and continuing the tuition. As you may know, it is my great wish that Miss Fairlie here will make our home her home. I may be a fool, Mr. Hartright, but thank heaven I'm not fool enough to try and separate the inseparable.
Miss Fairlie, I'm sorry if I startled you. I love this spot.
Yes, it has memories. Our father used to come here. He taught us to throw stones. I'm probably better at it than drawing.
Then will you take this one?
A blue stone. I've heard that is lucky.
So I am glad to give it to you.
You know we should not be here alone.
Please.
In a few weeks I will be married, Mr. Hartright. But I want you to understand one thing. I will never forget this summer. The days we have had together, the time I have spent with you.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, I want to wish you happiness.
And no matter if it is wrong, I will think of you. And I will keep this memory. For God's sake, please go.
The matter is of some delicacy, Mr. Fairlie, and you would oblige me by giving that man permission to withdraw.
Man? What man? You provoking old Gilmore. What can you possibly mean by calling him a man? He's nothing of the sort. At present, he is simply a portfolio stand. Why object, Gilmore, to a portfolio stand?
Well, I do object. It is important. Sir Percival has just left, and I want to discuss Laura's marriage settlement.
Oh, a settlement.
The terms demanded by his lawyers seem to me to be excessive. There is, after all, a considerable fortune involved.
Good Gilmore, how you reconcile one to human nature? But what exactly do you propose?
that either we resist their demand or, at the very least, before we sign, make Laura and Marion acquainted with it.
Make them acquainted? Gilmore, in such a miserable world as this, is it possible to overestimate the value of peace and quietness? No. And yet you would upset me, upset yourself, upset Glyde, upset Laura, and worst of all, upset Marion. And all for a trifling nothing.
His lawyers have no right to demand these clauses, and it seems to me as that they're anxious to settle before she comes of age. Now, if you stand firm, they must give way.
You dear old Gilmore, how you detest Glyde for being a baronet. What a radical you are. Oh, dear me, what a radical.
Mr. Fairlie, I will put up with a good deal of your provocation, but after holding the soundest conservative principles all my life and serving 3 generations of Fairlies, I will not put up with being called a radical. And I have to tell you that no daughter of mine should be married under such a settlement.
Don't shake the room, worthiest of all possible Gilmores. Do not shake the room. I would dispute this remote contingency with you if I could, but I can't. I haven't stamina enough. Shall we drop the subject? That's a good Gilmore.
You hold by this, then?
So glad we understand each other at last. Make them give you a good lunch downstairs. Do, Gilmore, make my idle beasts of servants give you a good lunch.
Do you want some, sir? Do you want some?
Do you not remember me?
There's Glyde here.
What?
I saw his carriage.
What is Sir Percival to you? I want to help you, not hurt you. What brings you here?
A man was once kind to me here. This man and his wife. Better than all the others. Glyde put me in the cold asylum, sir. To the cold stone and the baths. They scream in the baths. I was wrongfully treated. You must warn them here. I will never go back there.
Warn them of what? I want nothing except to help you.
Yes, to help me. And then they pull at you with their lips. Still, those coins and those pursed lips.
Please. Please. I mean you no harm.
I'm mightily glad, Mr. Hartright, that you met with Anne Catherick. And I was most interested to hear that she was at Limerick Church. It is my urgent wish that she's found without delay.
Have you known her long?
Yes. Her mother, one of our more faithful retainers at Blackwater, was doubly unfortunate in having a husband who deserted her and a daughter whose mental faculties were disturbed at an early age. In time, the poor girl's symptoms made it necessary for her to have medical care. But Mrs. Catherick did not want Anne to go to a public asylum. She appealed to me to meet the expense of a good private asylum, which, in mark of her services to our family, I was happy to do. Kitson, a Harley Street specialist, was put in charge of her case.
And did she improve?
No, she did not. And as her condition worsened, she developed a confused hatred for everyone involved in her treatment, including, I'm afraid, her mother and me. So I hope she's returned to proper medical attention as soon as possible. I have to leave again tomorrow, but I will watch for her tonight from the church.
Well, we must all hope the poor girl is found. And I will communicate all you have said to Laura's uncle and guardian. Well, I imagine that ends the matter.
No, it does not. If my plain statement of legal fact had only been addressed to you, Mr. Gilmore, and to you, Mr. Hartright, then I should consider any further reference to this unhappy matter as unnecessary. But, Miss Fairlie, my position with the lady is not the same.
I hope, Sir Percival, you do not suppose I distrust you.
No. But I owe to you what I would concede to no man alive. Proof of what I say. Here is the address and name of Anne's mother. May I insist you write at once to ask anything you wish, and ensure that she confirms my account.
Sir Percival watched all night here, but he saw no sign of her.
Why watch from here? You can't even see the ground. Did you find his account convincing?
More than I thought possible. But I would give anything to talk with Anne Catherick.
Then we must keep looking. I think I will start making moonlight sketches around the estate. There is a chance I may see her.
Begging your pardon, miss.
Yes, Margaret?
I wonder if I might ask you something.
Of course. What is it?
I didn't know whether to trouble you, miss. It may be nothing at all, but I wasn't sure.
If something is worrying you, I'll help it any way I can.
It is Mr. Hartright.
Mr. Hartright? What about him?
Well, you see, it was getting late, and I saw he was there down by the summer house, and it's just I wasn't sure what he was doing, whether he needed anything.
Oh, I see. No, Margaret. He wants to sketch various parts of the estate in moonlight. So please just do what he wants to accommodate that. I'm very keen to see the results.
Oh, yes, miss. That's all right, then. Thank you, miss. Just it seemed rather late.
Yes.
But I'm happy to go there at 10 if it helps him. Thank you, miss.
To go there?
Please, he tried to make me undress.
What?
Miss Fairlie!
Miss Fairlie, please, I can explain. Please, listen.
Inside. Get her inside.
Well, as you both know, I was always concerned about the absence of a proper chaperone in your arrangements here. Fortunately, Mr. Hartright is leaving in a few hours. But there is always this servant to consider.
Sir Percival has already offered the servant concerned a position at Blackwater Park, so the change of scene should help her.
And please don't forget, Mr. Gilmore, it was Marion who saved her.
Well, this is true. And provided both of you accept that you were completely duped by this young man, I suggest we let the matter rest.
I accept that we were deceived. I do not accept that I was wrong to take every means at my disposal to find Anne Catherick. Her mother has now written to me. Evidently, all that Sir Percival said is true to the letter.
Miss Fairlie, I will be gone in a few minutes. Please grant me one moment of your time.
I'm found with you, I will be punished. There is nothing to say.
I say nothing for myself, but the circumstances in which I was disgraced lead me to suppose you and your sister are in very great danger. I beg you to take heed of that danger.
Mr. Hartright's disgrace was such painful proof of our own inexperience that I begged Laura to forget all my doubts. It had been agreed I would join her as soon as the honeymoon was over. And how strange it seems now to think that I travelled that long road in hope. Oh, Laura! Oh. Oh. How long it seems.
Marion, I'm sorry, I'm tired from the journey. Will you excuse me?
Miss Fairlie. I must apologize. Laura's a little tired, but how nice to find you awaiting us. I regret to say it seems we have a guest arriving later in the week, some wretched cousin whom I barely know. Still, he will only be here a short time. Will you excuse me?
Matters have reached a head, and the situation may become serious. We must address ourselves to it at once.
If I can obtain the signature to the papers.
That will resolve the question. We can then proceed to clear the outstanding bills as they become due.
Sir Percival, I wonder if I might have a word with you regarding something.
Miss Fairlie, of course.
I have been here 4 days now. If she does not want me to be here, then I can leave. But I cannot understand why she will not talk to me.
I cannot wholly understand it myself. I have kept expecting her to change, but I fear the moods of women are sometimes unaccountable to me. You have her messages?
She makes excuses. She has business. She is tired. Once I passed her and she talks for a few moments and then goes on. If I have done something to offend her, then I will be duly sorry, but I must first know what it is.
Believe me, Miss Fairlie, you have done nothing to offend her. I'm sure of that. You must simply give her time.
I have given her time. And if, as you say, I have done nothing wrong, then I must leave and return to my uncle, because it is clear she does not want me. Perhaps you would be kind enough to inform the servants to prepare for my departure.
I have every hope she might change, and I will try again to prevail upon her to be more civil. Please. Stay longer.
No. You have been kind. But I cannot impose myself if she does not wish me to be here.
Marion, do not leave here. Oh, dear God. Do not leave.
Laura, oh, Laura, it was a bad dream. Oh, why would you not talk? What is this?
It was a fall. I must go back now, but tomorrow. We will talk tomorrow. I am so sorry.
Laura, you must tell me. Whatever the matter is, you must tell me. I beg you.
When we were in Italy, we went to see a wonderful tomb that her husband had built for his wife. She was called Cecilia Metella. It was a bright afternoon. I asked Percival if he would ever build something like it for me. His reply was that if he did, it would be with my own money.
It was a joke, Laura. What of it?
I am sure the marriage settlement must provide for him to inherit. At least in the event that there are no children. And Mary and I do not want children. Not the way he touches me when he...
Tell me.
I never knew men could enjoy the act, even in hatred. Why does he hate me? Is it because I have done something?
You have done nothing. And you must never think of yourself in this way.
Then I can only tell you what I believe. He wants my money, and I am sure he is prepared to do anything to get it. Come on, we must go back.
Laura, you cannot be sure. Perhaps if you would talk to him.
I have tried. Sometimes I have seen sadness, but now I keep remembering the warning of that woman, the poor woman in white.
Watch yourself, my lady! One of the dogs has got loose, he's dangerous! Keep still! Don't run! We've sent for the keeper!
Ladies, keep quite still, please.
Fine, sir. He flies at everyone.
He does that, my friend, because everyone is afraid of him. Let us see if he flies at me.
Careful, sir.
Lasciate di speranza nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita. Miss Fairlie, Lady Glyde, yes? I would beg your very great forgiveness. In my haste, I neglected to make my introductions. I am Count Isidoro Ottavio Fosco, once through my parents of Siena, now of Paris, arriving for only the second time in my life to pay tribute to my cousin and his beautiful home. I must admit that my early life was spent, like anyone else's, in innocent folly. I ruled the fashions of a second-rate Italian town and wrote preposterous romances for a third-rate newspaper. Then I studied law, finance, and chemistry, in that order.
Laura, I have something here for you to sign. This is a formality, but we may as well do it now so I can get the boy to take it down to the train. The Count and Miss Fairlie can be witnesses if they don't mind.
What is it I am to sign?
I would tell you, but we're short of time, and I doubt you would understand it.
I ask you to let me try. When Mr. Gilmore had any business, he always explained it.
Oh, well, I dare say, but you see, he was your servant and was obliged to do so. I am your husband, and I'm in a hurry.
It is just if my signature pledges me
You're
to...
not refusing me, surely?
No.
Then I will be glad if you proceed to sign it at once.
Sir Percival, perhaps I may explain Laura's objections.
Miss Fairlie, I hope very much you can continue to be our guest, but it could obviously become difficult if you choose to interfere in our affairs.
It is just...
Pardon me for one moment, Sir Percival, and please believe that I speak with respect. What that document that Lady Glyde is about to sign may be, I neither know nor desire to know, but I feel uneasy about witnessing any signature at all without a full and fair understanding by the signatory.
You take my wife's side?
I take the side of my poor European conscience, which is different. By all means, set me down as being no better than the rest of my kind.
I will see if my lawyer can find some way around it. Now, I really must get the rest of these papers off.
Without you and the Count, he would have made me sign it. Please, marry and give him no excuse to make you leave.
I will never leave without you. But Laura, you must now tell me what you fear.
Many things. Poison, a fall, a boating accident in the lake.
Laura.
He wants me dead, Marion.
If what you are saying is true, there are laws.
Laws cannot prevent evil, they may only avenge it. I have no evidence against my husband except that he is cruel. What is that? So are half the men in England.
I want to see.
Why?
Please. Never again. I don't care if you kill him. You will not let him near you. And from this moment on, I swear our endurance ends.
What are you talking about? What can we do?
We can fight. I have no means of proving my suspicions, Mr. Gilmore. Any more than I can prove the burned document forms some part of a plot to take my sister's money. I know my uncle will not countenance a scandal, but I beg you to ask him whether there is some way Laura and I could return alone to Limmeridge, at least for a prolonged visit.
Who are you? You're not Lady Glyde, are you?
No. No, Anne. I'm not. I am her half-sister.
What? They use you, miss, do they?
Anne, I could help you to see Lady Glyde. Would you like me to help you?
I don't need help. I'm not going back there to the asylum.
No. I won't take you back there. But we can help. You want to see Lady Glyde?
To tell her the danger. It's not safe here, miss. Never, never marry, miss. I travel free, I choose. Can you choose, miss?
What is the danger? Where can we find you?
After dusk, tomorrow, the boathouse. You must tell no one else. The secret frightens him.
I promise. But what secret? Anne?
If she will be here tonight, we must bring her food and clothing. I will look out for some of my own.
She had such sadness.
She is free.
But at what cost, Laura?
Does it matter, Marion? At least she can move on from those who abuse her.
And so can you. My letter was in the post this morning. By tomorrow, it will be with Gilmore, and he must act. And the Count helped us before. He will again.
Oh, Miss Fairlie, see the light dying in the trees. Does it not break the heart?
Ah, but Count, the heart will surely mend by morning.
You have your English sense, Miss Fairlie, but you cannot deny what is so striking, that you feel things very deeply.
I would not deny it. And yes, the light is beautiful.
And as your poet says, truth is beauty. See, your face shows as much now.
So, you study poetry as well as crime, Count? But I wish to know, is your study of detection an amateur interest only?
To be truthful? No. But then I have dabbled in many things.
things, including the science of character. And I see that your sister is very fortunate to have you as an ally. I have never met anyone like you.
Then I must be honest with you. At this moment, we are in need of as many friends as we can find. And I will tell you why.
You're quite sure we are not followed?
I'm certain of it.
Not alone.
It is all right, Anne. There is no one here but us. Look. We have food and clothing for you. Lady Glyde's things will fit you.
My lady, I have your word you are alone.
You have my word.
I've only kept out of their sight by moving from village to town, staying in woods and ditches. No one will listen. You are the only ones who might believe. There is a secret. You would destroy him.
What is it?
It is hidden. I was sure I heard a noise.
Get her!
Stop them, please! Stop them!
All right, Baxter, get her up. All onwards ordeal is at an end. We will confine her until an asylum can be found. Get up.
Curse you, Lady Glyde, my betrayer! You'll body twist and fall from the highest tower of Blackwater Park! And I didn't let him know!
Move it!
Anne!
What is this?
Come on!
Well, let us just say it is poor Anne's. She's in need of clothes. Oh, and there is excellent news. The good Count has agreed to stay on.
For several more weeks, I hope.
So the Count is no cousin, but yes, he is a specialist. God knows what he was hired to do in this house.
But the signature, he helped us.
No, he knew I would not let you sign, so he pretended to be our ally. Like a stupid girl, flattered by his attention, I led him straight to Anne.
So what will they do?
We will not wait to see. We're leaving. And Laura, for all his talk, I'm sure the Count is more dangerous than any of them. Never let him see what we feel.
Oh, mais tu voyages, hein? Viens, viens. Viens là, papa.
Mrs. Ridout? Mrs. Ridout? Mrs. Ridout, I need your help again to send a telegram. Margaret, where's Mrs. Ridout?
She's gone, miss.
Gone where?
She's left. You see, I'm to be housekeeper.
You?
The other servants have had their notice. The last of them are off now. Apart from Liza here.
You mean it is just Liza and you?
Oh, yes, miss. Sir Percival has been very kind after what happened with Mr. Hartright.
Margaret Porter is on their side. She is housekeeper to him now.
She is more than that to him.
Not for me.
I doubt I can do better.
Ladies, may I present to you my dear wife, who has just now joined our company.
Can I say how pleased I am to be of the party?
They are clearing the house. Yes, it is happening just as Walter Hartright warned. He begged me to believe him and I just turned away, but I see it so clearly now. He was innocent, Marion. They made him their victim.
We will leave as soon as it is dark. The station is half an hour's walk. If we catch the late train, we are safe. Take what you can. I will join you on the lawn after dinner.
No, thank you.
Beg pardon, sir.
How can you get through so much cream, Fosco?
A taste for sweets is the innocent taste of women and children. I love to share it with them. Another bond, dear ladies, between you and me.
No, this weather is impossible.
Must break soon.
It will break. I have told you. Soon now.
And by the way, there have been reports of poachers in the park with guns. Baxter is standing guard, but I consider it highly dangerous. None of you should be in the grounds tonight. You understand?
I take it the garden is safe?
Yes, provided you stay in it and do not venture out.
Miss Fairlie, I must appeal to you on a question of the greatest importance. Indeed, you might say that the honor of my country is at stake, unless you have some more pressing business, in which case I could accompany you. You see, the English were always reviling the Italians for their music.
I am sorry, I know nothing of music.
But I'm sure they forgot Rossini. As a very great personal favor to me, might I ask you to listen to this and say if anything more sublime has been composed?
I have no wish to interrupt the Count, but I am feeling a little faint and I must get some air. The Count would not let me go. We must be quick or the train will leave.
But the poachers and guns.
There are none. That was just to scare us. I hope we never see it again.
road cannot be far now. I think I can see it just as short.
Miss Baxter, there were no poachers.
I knew who we were, but he's still shot. What would they call it? An accident.
At first light, we will go to the stables. I will tell the groom that Sir Percival requires him urgently, and then we can take the cart ourselves. But lock your doors tonight.
Stay with me.
No. I must know what they're doing.
Come in and sit down. You're as restless as a cat. Have some brandy and water.
You know how careful we must be. Cold water with pleasure, the spoon, basin of sugar. Au sucré, my friend, a wonderful drink.
A sickly mess, you mean? You foreigners are all alike.
It is here at last, the rain that washes away our sins. So, Sir Percival, how would you treat a woman who opposes you?
Knock her down.
Yes, that is one inferior route chosen by the lower orders. But a superior way is to deny all their suspicions and never, under any circumstances, to accept a provocation at their hands. Yet despite all my warning and entreaties, you keep forgetting this crucial fact with your wife's sister. Now, you hired me as a specialist.
Are you going to stand in the rain all night?
So, as a specialist, I tell you, Sir Percival, in this sweet rain, that there are limits even to the male prejudices of your good country. We cannot keep these women here indefinitely.
Of course, but where are you leading?
I saw that your wife's sister would lose us the signature to the deed. I turned that to our advantage and secured Anne Catherick. But without the signature, we are having to do something infinitely more complicated and infinitely more dangerous. Are you ready for that?
Of course. But how? Debts mount. And there was danger, too. Anne almost told the women of the will my father made at the end. And I still cannot find where she has hidden it.
And the will would disinherit you. Why? You have hinted at something worse.
It will never be disclosed. Now come to the point. I would have acted earlier and more crudely against my wife. You restrained me. Our time is running out, so I say to you again, how?
I shall tell you. How? First, we must separate the women at breakfast. You understand that, Percival? We must separate them tomorrow at breakfast. Then I, Fosco, will resort to that most complicated the chemist. Then tomorrow at breakfast.
me a light. Someone is out there. Then we will find them.
Breakfast tomorrow. Tomorrow breakfast, tomorrow breakfast, tomorrow breakfast, tomorrow breakfast, tomorrow breakfast. At dawn, mosquito at dawn. No breakfast. Not a breakfast with the chemist. Laura must see Laura. Only a dream. Dear God, only a dream. But this is not my room. Why have I been moved?
You've been in a fever, Marion. The doctors moved you simply for the risk of infection.
Mr. Gilmore, thank heavens you've come.
Of course I came. I wanted to be sure I was the one who saw you first.
Why? Where's Laura?
They had to break open the door to get help to you, but the doctors say you were stronger now, and I have to ask you to be brave, Marion. There is bad news.
You were told about it before, evidently, but nobody knew how much you'd taken in.
Told what?
There's been an accident. Laura is dead. She fell from the tower.
They have killed her then!
Please, Marion. You are still not strong.
You don't understand. I know what happened. I heard them plotting. Glyde and Fosco drugged and killed her.
Glyde had no hand in her death. Laura's mind had been turned by Anne Catherick's prophecy. There are witnesses.
Who?
Well, a respectable doctor who I know and who was tending you in your fever. He was with Glyde and Fosco when she fell.
It makes no difference. Liza and Margaret Porcher would have done it. Glyde used Margaret against Hartright. He has paid her to kill Laura.
This is madness, Marion. Who else would you have involved? The groom, the stable boy, the doctor himself. There is not the slightest proof of any of these accusations, and I will not hear of it. Do you understand?
But they were all in league against us. There is some secret hidden. A will that would disinherit Sir Percival.
I shall not listen to this, Marion. Glyde would have the perfect right to take legal action against you. Now, please, come down. For Laura's sake.
From her soul. It was from Laura's soul.
I would not go to the funeral. I said I was ill. And weeks had passed before I could bear to see her grave.
I promised Laura. Whatever it takes.
And so I left Limmeridge, scene of all my happiest memories, as readily as one leaves a scorched desert, and with only one thought in my heart, the promise I had made at her graveside. I set out on a new life.
As I said, Fosco sent word they're happy for you to join them, but I cannot understand why you'd wish to go.
I have probably misjudged them. And I feel the change of scene will do me good. Did you find news of Anne Catherick?
As we thought, she was in a private asylum, but it's impossible to discover where. Mrs. Catherick has gone abroad, so there's no more I can do.
My dear Miss Fairlie, naturally I offer you my deepest sympathies. We are beguiled that you have elected to join us. Was the hotel to your liking?
Very much so. Now, shall we start the tour count? I've always longed to see the museum.
What gifts they left for the dead. Do you believe in ghosts, Miss Fairlie?
If I do count, we talk in the most haunted room in England.
It is so long since we last talked together. I still remember that wonderful twilight.
This room is not to my taste, Count. I shall move on to the treasures.
Of course, my Andrew.
I remember the twilight. And I have often reflected since that you were right.
Right?
The heart does not mend by morning. Now I think I will take your carriage back if you have no objection. I feel a little tired. I have no wish to interrupt Madame Fosco's tour.
Of course. The carriage will take you safely back to the hotel. I look forward to talking to you further over dinner.
I am Miss Fairlie, with Count Fosco's party. They're out for the day, but it appears an item of my wardrobe was sent to his suite by mistake. I wish to collect it.
Room 11, miss.
Thank you. Miss Fairlie? I am sorry, my cape was separated from my luggage, and it seems the porter brought it here by mistake.
Ah, but you have retrieved it. Good. Well, I followed your example. The museum was too exhausting. And now you're here, will you have some refreshment with me? For a few moments, at least.
I think we're all in need of some refreshment. No? See, Miss Fairlie, my mice have not eaten for a little while. They are deprived of their food. And since they know no other morality, food is their only notion of virtue. A good notion of virtue, too, says Fosco, but I am a bad man who says what others only think.
And what is your notion of virtue, Miss Fairlie?
I suppose the same as my notion of goodness.
Excellent, Miss Fairlie, excellent. Here is my notion of goodness. Tincture of laudanum. Many find it helps their disposition. And since your notion of goodness evidently embraces lying, stealing keys, ransacking people's rooms, and destroying their property in search of evidence against them, I'm sure it can extend to include laudanum, which is what you were looking for. Yes, as I thought, this woman here was attempting to steal from me. She stinks of laudanum. Collect her things and throw her out.
There's been a murder! My sister was murdered by her husband! Oh, speak to my love. Over here. Be able to cheer yourself up.
See, Miss Fairlie, attack me and I must defend myself. I fear that once your uncle hears of this, you will be an outcast. Liar, thief, betrayer of hospitality, degenerate.
I think I care. I only want to do you and your kind harm. and I will commit any crime to achieve it.
Ah, corruption, when once it begins, is a wonderful thing, is it not? This is just the beginning, Miss Fairlie, but there is no going back. I feel nothing but the affinity of master for pupil.
Cab!
You not only caused a scandal, you also made wild accusations, which may well prompt legal action. Your uncle is severely angry and disturbed and will now not have you back at Limmeridge. In the circumstances, I have persuaded him to make available a small allowance, enough for London rooms, but only on one condition, that you go nowhere near Limmeridge, not even the church.
But why? Am I not to be allowed to visit my own sister's grave?
I am sorry, Marion, but I must have your undertaking. The alternative is destitution.
Right, come on, darling, you're fascinating. Get back, go on.
Give us a farthing, dear. Here, give us a farthing.
That's a good tune, then. Go on.
How much? 7 guineas. She's outside. Sorry, better off.
Did me? Hey!
Your offer for a portrait is generous, but this setting is hardly appropriate. Why not commission an artist of your own station?
Because, Mr. Hartright, I wish to see you. We have the power to avenge her, not to let anyone forget.
Forget? I think of her every moment of every hour. Yes, I would love to forget how I failed her.
You had no choice.
So I told myself when I left you that the criminals would be caught and she would seek me out. What a miserable lie. I slunk away from the one I loved and I let her die.
No, you did not. I remember how you fought back even after they crushed you. Laura remembered too. She spoke of it often at the end. I'm as guilty as you are. I counseled her to forget you.
If you are right, they planned it perfectly. You will find no evidence against these men. The laudanum you saw proves nothing.
But do you not see? They used it. Once she was weak, Margaret Porter and Liza could force her to the tower. I cannot act alone. As a woman, it is hard enough to travel alone, but I do have a little money. Will you help me?
Yes, I will do anything. Where can we begin?
Perhaps with the women. They cannot be hard to trace. If we work together as equals, we can hurt those who hurt us.
You are changed. You know what people will think.
Let them think what they like. We cannot go back to such scruples. They took everything we had, but we are free. I want to use that against them. Tell your mistress that Miss Fairlie is here with a message from Sir Percival Glyde.
Yes, miss. I saw you from the window. What did you want? Was there someone with you?
Yes, I have someone with me, Margaret. Perhaps you recall him.
Hello, Margaret.
Why? Why have you brought him?
I bring him because I know you accused him falsely. And you had a part in murdering my sister. It would be as well for you if you told us what your part was.
In other words, you know nothing. You're making wild and false accusations. And I could ask my servant to throw you both out. Yes, my servant, miss. I own this house now. I'm not a housekeeper anymore. And I don't need to be bullied or harassed by the likes of you.
Glyde bought you the house, didn't he?
What if he did? No law that I know of against repaying a retainer for faithful service.
But what kind of service?
Let me tell you something. The clergyman bows to me here. Even Glyde didn't expect that, but it is so. I am a respectable woman.
But I am not a respectable man. And I have only you to thank for that. Your lies bought you all this, and others paid dearly for it.
I have nothing more to say to you. How are you travelling together, anyway? Are you married? No, you're not, are you? Now go.
We will not stop.
We mean to find Anne Catherick.
You can't.
Why not? Why does it frighten you?
I merely mean you cannot find her. You know what a state she was in when they took her? Her clothes were so filthy I had to burn them. Leave the poor woman alone. And leave me alone.
I am not leaving anything alone. And I don't care what I have to do.
No, I find nothing at all physically wrong, Miss Fairlie. I rather think the symptoms you describe must have belonged to some passive infection which took a toll on the nervous system. I feel sure they will not return. You can put your clothes back on.
Dr. Kitson, I also wish to ask you about a patient who I think you were once involved in committing to an asylum. A Miss Anne Catherick.
Anne Catherick, yes, very sad.
I want to know where she is.
I fear that's quite impossible, Miss Fairlie. You must know that all such matters are entirely confidential. Now, please, go to the cloakroom and put your clothes back on.
I'm afraid I have to know.
I find your tone rather offensive. I've told you I cannot help. I have other patients to see. I have very little time.
You're right. You have very little time. And if you walk out of the door now, I will start to scream.
What?
I will run into the waiting room and say that you made overtures to me of a most disgusting kind.
How dare you?
I will swear it.
You think they will believe you against me?
I'm happy to take that risk, Dr. Kitson. Are you? You can be sure there will be scandal.
I will have nothing to do with you, or with this kind of blackmail. A medical examination will quickly reveal...
Your hair on me. I took it from your brush in the cloakroom where I removed my clothes. I will also make a public appeal to your next patient, who is, I believe, the Duchess of Norfolk. If you deny me, I can certainly wound you, perhaps destroy you. And I want nothing from you but information which concerns me. Nobody need know you have provided it.
Please, put some clothes on. I'll tell you what you want to know, and much good may it do you.
I want to know her history, and also where she is now.
She was moved to a more secure asylum at Sir Gillis in Cornwall. I have not seen her since her recapture, but I'm told she's of no use to anyone now. What little mind she had is quite gone. Your name's Fairlie. You related to Philip Fairlie of Limmeridge House?
That was my father.
Ah. Are you aware that Anne's mother, Jane Catherick, used to work on the Limmeridge estate when you were in your cradle?
It is possible.
She conceived out of wedlock, and later, to avoid embarrassment, a job was found for her by your father, I believe. Far away on the estate of some friends, the Glydes. That was the background to Anne's birth. When she was 12, she came to see me because she was morally degraded. Quite beyond control.
Why?
I do not know. Much was concealed from me, and it was obvious that her mother had been paid for her silence. But Anne divulged something to me, to no one else, which may seem suggestive to you. She had left something. A lock of her hair in your father's grave. Now, why would she do that?
I cannot think.
No? It rather seemed to me that the Cathericks had been used as some kind of physical resource.
What do you mean?
And that your father had an involvement. You've obviously taken after him yourself. Now, I would be grateful if you would leave and never return. Without the protection of your class, you'd certainly be on the streets yourself. Most probably in the gutter.
You think Anne is my father's child?
We may never know. But if she is, your father did no greater wrong than many men. You should not confuse his sin with what was done to Laura.
But he was my father. Perhaps he started a chain using people for what he wanted, and I am where it ends. I told myself if I was acting wickedly, it was for Laura's sake. Now I see it is in my blood.
That is not true.
It is true. And the Count recognized as much. I cannot go on.
Listen to me. I did nothing for you and your sister when it might have mattered, but listen to me now for her sake. If you talk like this, you let them win. You are not giving up, and nor am I. There are two of us now. We will go to Gilmore together.
He will not hear us.
He must. Laura would have wished it.
Very well. But first we must help Anne. Her mind may be gone. But if we failed Laura, we will not fail her. Especially if she is my sister.
You said in your letter that you were friends of the family.
We had business in Falmouth, and Sir Percival Glyde asked us to see her.
Yes, of course. Well, it was Sir Percival has brought her here in June. He's been very good to her. Well, some are and some aren't. This place is more comfortable than a public asylum, sir. It is, as you know, only for those who can pay their way. Anne Catherick gives us no trouble, as you'll see. Mild as a lamb, though that is partly what she takes for the delusions. Laudanum, sir.
You have many visitors?
I hardly think so, sir. I hardly think so. Most of us are here a long time and are well out of sight, as you might say. And out of sight is out of mind, isn't it, sir? Our doctor visits and does what he can, but them just come here. They're not for cure enough here. Not really for curing.
Oh, I've just remembered. Sir Percival had this message for you.
For me, sir?
He wanted to know if you'd heard from Mrs. Catherick, Anne's mother.
No, sir. I don't have anything from her, sir. And Sir Percival said I would not. Strange thing.
Anne? Anne? It is a friend.
never live.
Laura.
We will see you are not blamed. And for now, nobody need know she has left. It is a private arrangement, and we wish to reimburse you fully for your part in it.
But why? Why?
It was Anne Catherick who fell. It must have been. They locked her up in the tower, and she threw herself to her death.
And we had given her Laura's clothes.
So the doctor assumed it was Laura. They looked so alike. And Fosco no longer needed to murder. He had all he wanted, the life of one, the identity of the other.
Then it was Anne who gave her life. It has been hours. Why does she not know us?
It will take time.
You must sleep now.
But what if her mind has gone forever? Like Anne. A physical resource.
What?
It was something the doctor said.
Conceived out of wedlock. She came to see me because she was morally degraded, quite beyond control.
Anne almost told the women of the will my father made at the end, and I still cannot find where she has hidden it.
There is a secret. It is hidden in...
She had left something. A lock of her hair in your father's grave. Now, why would she do that?
I know he was her father. And I know where the will is hidden. This painting always haunted me. The story of how the artist exhumed her body. Now I see why. It is in my father's grave, Walter. With her hair. They never allowed us to see him at the end. He was too ill. No one.
We are there.
And yes, the will. Anne did hide it here.
What's that?
Almost in shreds. But it has writing. We need more light.
It is as we thought. This will strip Glyde of his title and estate. It will destroy him.
Anne Catherick, aged 12. I hide this will with a lock of hair in the grave of one who was kind to me and I know to be my father.
It may yet tell us why Glyde was cut off. Go on.
Because these past months, my own secret is I have one who comes to my bed at night as a husband. My husband, Percival. Dear God, Walter, I'm a child. What did they do?
I have been looking for so long, as you know.
She was 12 years old.
Oh, that. It is only the ravings of a disturbed child.
A physical resource. Yes, the Cathericks were that. First the mother and then the child, even in death.
Yes. I heard you found your sister. Is she of use to you now? In her condition?
Even now, you have no remorse. I will tell you, Sir Percival, what you are. You are a sham, a hollow shell, a false thing.
I needed money. I did what I had to do. It is over now.
No, it is not over, and it will never be forgiven. No degree of self-interest, no circumstance, not even ignorance could ever excuse what you have done to us, to me and to my sisters.
So what do you propose to do? Wrestle with me?
No. If you put yourself so low, then I cannot see you. There's no other way out.
It was an accident. And that is how it will be seen.
Mr. Hartright.
Marion! Marion!
Marion. Laura.
Allow me to present Mr. Hartright, who was wrongfully accused. I am as great an invalid as ever, but he intimated I must be here, and he is so very obliging as to speak for me. The subject is dreadfully embarrassing. Please hear him, and please do not make a noise.
All of you will have heard that a conspiracy has been unmasked, which led to the wrong woman being buried in the churchyard here, and Lady Glyde being mistakenly imprisoned. We are here today to celebrate the return to Limerick of Lady Glyde, who is almost restored to full health, and my own engagement to her.
And so in my dreams, I often find myself back in Limerick churchyard, in front of the church, which is now only a bare shell. And I stand thinking of how they changed the letters on the grave that was no longer of my sister Laura, but of a child who was shut away for life because a man had abused her. Of course, everything has changed now. We live a different life, setting our faces bravely forward. And perhaps we try not to remind each other, treading carefully around the familiar areas of pain. But I can never forget the cruel cycle that began so long ago with the birth of an unwanted child. And I have one waking prayer. Let it be over.
You'll notice that Count Fosco apparently gets away unpunished. That's the impression our film leaves, but Wilkie Collins has more to say. In the book, the Count disappears from London, apparently safe from Hartright, only to turn up dead in the morgue in Paris. The story of how he got there is off the main line of the book's plot and would have taken another hour to show on film. As Collins created him, Fosco's a huge fat man of irresistible charm and cold-blooded treachery. Collins said he made him fat to get away from the conventional idea of the villain as a thin man. In Italy, Fosco has betrayed a secret society he belonged to, and its members have sworn to track him down and kill him. They catch up with him and do the job in Paris, far away from Hartright and Laura. In the book, we last see him lying on a slab in the morgue, being stared at by people amazed by the size of him. Mystery story fans find Count Fosco one of the most fascinating criminals in literature. There are certainly few who have as much charm. Some speculate that Collins himself was too fond of him to see him destroyed in plain view, as it were. So he elected to do it off stage, out of sight, in faraway France. For Masterpiece Theater, I'm Russell Baker. Good night.